everyone, welcome back to the Anime Iceberg. I'm Megan,
And I'm Meg.
and today we're talking about Dr. Stone, episode 14, Master of Flame.
The grand bout is on. The Kingdom of Science must defeat Magma and take the seat of the village chief in order to give Ruri the antibiotic and win over the village.
A better description than last week.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking that too.
This covers manga chapters 36, Kinro and Ginro, 37, Science User Chrome, and 38, Master of Flame.
Yeah. Do we have anything to share this week?
Yeah, in terms of life updates, so a while back I made a submission to Viz Media. Basically, Viz Media they publish Dr. Stone, Haikyuu, Naruto, a lot of manga. But they have submission forms for both one-shot stories and if you want to pitch a series to them. I chose to pitch a series which without going into too much detail, it's the basic concept of it was like a famous VTuber slowly learns how to come out of his shell and interact with people and show his face. Um and I submitted the story description and character designs and 10 sample pages. Usually if they don't want to take on your series, you won't hear anything back, you won't get any emails. So they say to wait about 2 months, and if you don't hear anything, just, it's off the table. And last week I got an email back from Viz, and I got it while I was at work. So I had to wait till the end of the day to open it because I knew if it was good, I would cry in the middle of all those people I work with. And if it was really bad, I would just make a face, and I didn't want them to see me make a face. So anyway, I got home, I opened it up, and it's I've learned how to skim rejection emails, so my eyes were looking for the unfortunately, and they found it. But I realized that if they didn't want my series, they would have just not said anything. So yeah, they said at this time we don't have a spot for this on our lineup, but they did say they would like to see more from me, like if I wanted to submit to their one-shot competition, which probably would be the better option for a beginner like myself. And we'll see if that happens. But Meg and I do have a one shot we are potentially going to work on in the future.
Yes, very exciting.
Yeah.
Yay.
Rejection.
Right. No, but it's
Constructive
actually good
criticism.
because they like actually got back to you, which I think is
Yeah.
a really good sign, and they
Well,
encourage you
they
to
didn't,
submit more. So,
right. And they didn't say anything like, oh, we think you've got potential. You just need to work on your backgrounds more, which is the thing I really do need to work on. But, they didn't have any critique, honestly. Like I say
mhm.
constructive criticism, but honestly, it was more of like encouragement to try again.
Yeah, so
Shuji.
Saiko. Hopefully,
Watch Bakuman, you'll get it.
hopefully, no, you will do better next time.
Yeah,
We'll finish our one shot eventually.
we will. I'm just in the artist slump of going, everything I make is crap.
I've been spent so many hours writing, my brain is fried. Stage.
Artist block,
Uh,
writer's block, they're just the devil.
yes. Okay, now let's talk about this episode.
Woo!
But
Oh,
before that,
before,
yeah.
yes, we have a new intro and outro. This one is actually my favorite intro. I can't tell you why. It's probably just the beat. I don't know. It's a good song to run to. But the intro is Primary Colors by Pelican Fan Club, and the outro is Like a Dream by Saiki Yusuke.
Yeah, I love the out I mean I like the intro, but I love the outro.
The
It's
art is
very
so cute.
sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to look up the translation because I really want to know what the lyrics are.
hmm And I think this one was written specifically. There's I can't remember if it's an intro and outro or outro. One of them was written for oh my gosh. One of them was written specifically for Dr. Stone.
I feel like it
Um,
might be Good Morning World because they did
yes,
that remix for the Ryusui movie or TV special, I
maybe. I
mean.
can't remember. how I figured that out because I
But
just
uh
realized that like a few weeks ago. Um,
but I love primary colors so much, and there wasn't an English version that I looked up a rough translation of it and pieced together my own version. I haven't sang it or posted it anywhere. It's for my own enjoyment, but the lyrics are just so perfect.
hmm Yeah, I remember you sending me that. It is pretty good. Oh yes, okay. I think it is. I think it is this intro because the cover art for the song is Senku.
Oh, you mean the outro?
Yeah, sorry, yes, the outro.
Yeah. Oh, now I really need to look up the lyrics.
Yeah. Anyway, now let's get into the episode. So at the end of the last episode, Kinro got Suika's glasses and he's like totally winning and everybody's celebrating and it's very sweet. Um, and then Magma is like, I'm gonna give up and was immediately onto him because he looked so sweet and innocent.
Batting his long
Yeah,
eyelashes.
yeah, barf. Um, he's like, I'll give up, but you just need to ask the referee if it's okay that you have these. And Kinro, being the goody two shoes that he turns his back to ask the referee, and Magma deals a death blow and knocks him out.
He's lucky he was wearing Suga's helmet. That might have done more to him.
Mm-hmm.
I think he just kind of blacked out for a second because he was fine when they got him out of the ring.
Yeah.
But I would be
But
very
it he
concerned
his
about
head
any
was
head,
bleeding.
like, well,
Like,
yeah, I'd be concerned about any blunt force trauma in this Stone Age. I'm kind of surprised
mm-hmm.
they let headshots fly.
So Kinro has lost. And then the next battle is Barf again. Mantle versus Chrome. And Kohaku is gone and she has to get back in time for her battle or she automatically forfeits. And she's the next fight. And so Magma realizes this and they can see like Kohaku in the distance coming back. And so Magma tells Mantle to forfeit and like he loses on purpose basically.
Yep.
And so Kohaku doesn't show up in time and she was battling Senku and so Senku automatically wins.
And he doesn't look very happy about that fact.
No, no, he probably saw he was going up against Kohaku and he's like, "Oh, great. I'll lose right away and be out of
Yeah.
this."
Oh man, if he were to go up against Magma, that just give up, forfeit, run away, that he would
Mm-hmm.
he would be dead.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know what would have happened because he has no strength.
He probably would have, rigged up something, some sciencey type of
Mm-hmm.
tool to make
Yeah.
sure he didn't get beat up too badly.
And he'd jump off the cliff into the water.
Bye. He can swim, right?
Yeah. And then, but so Kohaku, like, she literally misses it by like a minute. But she comes back and there's like a very sweet moment between her and Suika where she hugs Suika. It's like, I'm so glad you're okay and I don't regret, you know, going to look to make sure.
Yeah.
Like, it's very
Yeah.
sweet.
And next up we have a match which we don't know this man. It's
It,
Argo. He's a villager. He seems really strong.
yes, and he's facing off with Ginro, and Ginro has been like holding in all of the ingredients for Senku's his
The sports drink, basically. You know what? That was actually kind of good foresight on Ginro's part, where he's like, "Oh, I didn't realize I wasn't supposed to eat all of these, and we didn't have any left, so I might as well hold it in reserve till I need it."
uh-huh, yeah, and so he like he eats it and then like he's like super typed up on caffeine and just the whole fight is just unhinged because we see what he sees himself as like a super buff guy like totally killing it um and in reality he like just looks like trash and everybody's like wow he's so cool but then they look at him he's like oh he does not look good.
But
Um,
I think Senku said something along the lines of, "Hey, if delusion gets him through this, just let him go for it, because he's rushing off of adrenaline here." So
mhm, yes. And he actually pulls it off. He bluffs his way into winning. He basically ends up like pushing Argo off the cliff.
yeah. It's like
And he
a
wins.
speed over strength kind of strategy, I
Mm-hmm.
guess.
Yeah. Yeah. But he is taken out by his
His gut that's
concoction.
not used to caffeine.
Nope. It's honestly like, should I say? Like it's accurate depiction.
We're sorry, guys. We're 5 years old. There were farting noises, so
More than that, but
that's the
he
mild way of putting it.
yeah, he's fighting for his life over there.
They even show him after he gets out, and his lower half is pixelated out.
Yeah, he's down. But he won his fight, so that's good.
Yeah.
Um, and then the final battle of the episode. Um, so Magma won, and so did Chrome, and so now they're going up against each other. And basically, Chrome has to beat him because the next person he's gonna be facing is, well, Ginro's kind of out. So
He can
Senku's
still fight,
gonna,
but he's not going to do a good job because
yeah,
he's sick.
basically it's gonna be Magma versus Senku. Um, and as we just talked about, that would not go
He
well.
would die.
So it's all up to Chrome. And it's not looking so good. He's like getting totally beat to a pulp. Um, and while that is happening, we see somebody in the distance, and it's again, he has come
Yes.
back and
Missed
he's
you,
watching
man.
the fight. Yeah. And Chrome is it's he's not gonna win. He's like trying to figure out, like he's like, think, I gotta come up with something. And he sees Suika's broken mask, and he gets an idea. So he throws sand in Magma's eyes, and he goes to the mask, and he's like kind of leaning over it, and we don't really like know what he's doing. But then he like puts the mask on a stick, and he just like stands in front of Magma, like completely still, and we see he's like trying to start a fire with the lens. And but Senku is like, that's he's kind of freaking out. He's like, that's not gonna work. That's a concave lens, and you need a convex lens to start a fire. Um, and Chrome's like, no, I know what I'm doing. And we see that he turned the concave lens into a convex lens by dripping his sweat and tears onto the onto the lens, which is very impressive.
That's
Um,
hardcore.
yeah. And honestly, in this moment, the first time we watched this episode, I was very impressed with Chrome. And this just like shows that just like how intelligent he is, because like Senku just taught him once about this convex lens, and like, he kind of picked it up. He had the base knowledge to understand like that there's different types of lenses, and that not all of them will start fires. So I was very impressed.
That's
The
my
first time
boy.
we watched this, and it's like, oh, he's not just like mindlessly following Senku around. He actually is like can get stuff done. And then we see Senku being very impressive. Um, he again makes himself known, and he's like, how long is it gonna take to start a fire? And Senku, like in his head, like calculates how long it will take to start a fire. Which again, it's very impressive, because it's like he has to have all the different formulas memorized, and like not only in the formulas, but like in those formulas there's like a bunch of constants, and so you gotta like memorize all those different numbers, and it's just,
And
I don't
factoring in
know.
the weather and
Yeah,
what kind of clothes Magma is wearing.
It's just insane. But he calculates that it will take a minute to start a fire. And so Gen is like, all right, I got this. And he proceeds to cast a spell on Magma. He's basically like, if you move in the next minute, your heart will explode. Um, and it's, I don't know, the whole scene is great because he's like mocking him in a girly voice, and it's like, and Magma's freaking out. He's like, "You're cheating," and Yen is like, "No, I'm not. What if I'm just faking?"
He's such a
Um,
skunk. And you
mm-hmm.
know what? His hair color reflects that.
Does. Um, it's great. And then I don't know, I really liked what Chrome said, where he's like, "We're utilizing Senku's science, Gen's magic, and my tenacity to get this done." Um, and so he's gonna start his fire. And he does. He starts Magma's pants on fire, and it's crazy. Like he like is totally engulfed in flames.
Oh, yeah, I love that
Um,
part because so Chrome is able to start that pinpoint fire with the lens, and then you just see it cut to Senku and he goes, now hit it. And since Magma swats at it, the oxygen, like it just causes the flash effect.
mhm,
And so he's like panicking, obviously. He's covered in fire.
mhm. Yes, and Chrome gets to use the move that he was practicing. He he hits Magma in the nards and pushes him in the water.
I was so happy he got to use his super secret move.
Yeah, it was great. And Chrome has won. And that means that the Kingdom of Science has won because the only people left in the grand bout are him, Senku, and Ginro. So it's
Yes,
super great.
I'm just glad he's still alive and he didn't break any bones or lose any teeth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm surprised because Magma beat him up pretty bad.
Well, I mean, if you look at all the guys, like uh Kinro's got a pretty nasty head wound, but he's okay. Ginro has an eye swollen shut and his both nostrils are bleeding. And then Chrome's got an eye swollen shut, his nose is bleeding, his mouth's bleeding. He's just hunched over, probably gonna feel that for a couple days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but they won, which is very exciting.
Woohoo! Yes, now on to the manga extras. We've got a Mecha Senku Q&A. Why doesn't Suika's watermelon helmet have the stripe pattern? So Senku says there are some watermelons with fainter stripes. They would be slightly more visible in a colored image. The pattern on Suika's helmet was faintly visible once, but it was rubbed off almost immediately.
Mm-hmm.
It's just easier to draw that way, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yes, and then also since we are on volume 5, I'm going to read the author and illustrator comments at the beginning. So Inagaki Sensei says, with Senku's lab finally up and running, he's able to concoct some high-level science creations. Actually, it's getting harder and harder for me as the writer to keep pace. For the particularly tricky calculations, I have our science consultant and other experts help fact-check. But in the stone world, Senku's doing it all in his head. That's just bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then Boichi says, I reference photos from a number of different locations when drawing Kohaku's village. Mostly, it's just the Izu Peninsula woods and assorted nature shots, but I also use photos from my 2-month research trip in Hokkaido, the picturesque scenery of Toyama, the Rocky Mountains of Karuizawa, landscape images of Yamanashi, and the rocky islands and seaside cliffs of Busan, Korea. I really wanted to make it out to Yukishima for some prime shots, but preparing for serialization took a whole month. Plus, I had 2 weekly series, so my trip never happened. It's a good thing I already had a stockpile of reference photos. He was doing 2 weekly series at once.
Dude, that's crazy.
Wow, this man is not human. Okay, we're gonna introduce another character and their voice actor. Sorry, we have to talk about him. We're gonna introduce Mantle. So, Magma Side Boy, as that commenter on Crunchyroll said. He sorry, we're including this, but I found it quite hilarious and unfortunate. He is 4'11" and 21 years old, and yet He looks
That,
like he's 40.
yeah, that is just so shocking to me. That's just crushing.
Also, 4'11", they definitely draw him seeming shorter than that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Yes. But though we don't like his character, we do like his voice actor, who is Sonny Strait. He plays Maze Hughes in Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, Koro Sensei from Assassination Classroom, and Usopp from One Piece. And it makes sense that his name is Mantle because Mantle is the rock between the Earth's core and the crust. So I think that's where like magma would come out of the mantle of the Earth. So magma and mantle like kind of go hand in hand for the definitions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, yeah.
okay. Oh, one thing to mention, science-wise actually, uh, and I'm not the scientist here, but I did read the manga and there's like a little he mentioned it in the anime very briefly, but he got cut off. But in the manga, Senku mentioned about starting fires, and the others, especially Gen, were wondering like, can you start a fire by dripping water into the lens to make it convex? And Senku says that yes, it's been known that suction cups and air have been known to start fires, like those window cling things. And that sparked a memory in my head on really sunny days. My mom's like, hey, let's keep the curtain closed on this side because I had one of those window clings. And she's like, there have been fires that have started in other houses because of those. So err on the
That's
side of
crazy. I
caution.
did not know that actually.
Yeah. Plastic, rubbery suction cups.
Hmm. Interesting.
Wonder if a strong enough contact lens could do it. Suction that to a window.
Yeah, see if that starts a fire.
Probably not. It would burn up before it starts a fire.
Yeah. All right. That is all we've got for this episode. So let's do our outro.
Woohoo.
Megan, what was your favorite line?
Mine came from precious little Suika when she's talking about Ginro after his unfortunate caffeine trip. He probably has a bad case of the squirts.
Uh,
I also have to throw in a line here. I can't count it for our tracking because it's not Chrome saying that's bad, but when Ginro was having his little delusions of grandeur, there was a part where even the audience was caught up in his misremembering of the situation, and you hear Chrome go, "This is bad!" Like he's excited for Ginro, and it switches to reality, and Chrome's going, "This is bad." And what was your favorite line, Meg?
mine came from Gen, when he was tricking Magma. I just related to it on a personal level. When he was like, the fact is, people will buy any cheap lie if it'll justify their unending laziness. And that
Stop calling us out, Ken.
right, that cut me right to my core.
I will say, throughout watching this show and watching Gen in particular, I have learned a lot of tips and tricks for psychologically manipulating people. Not that I'll ever use them, but I kind of get into that stuff though. Like I
Mm-hmm.
like suspense and mystery. So seeing how people's brains works kind of makes sense to me and I try to be as people smart as possible, just so I know what the heck
Mm-hmm.
is going on in life. But
Yep. Okay, what did we learn?
we learned that combining efforts yields great results.
Mm-hmm. And who pushed the story forward?
My boy Chrome for mastering the flames and beating Mantle and Magma.
Mm-hmm.
Mantle doesn't really count that much, but Magma.
Yep. He could have beaten him. Yeah. Yeah, the real MVP.
Hmm.
He did it for his girl.
Yep. And for science.
Yep. All right. That's all we've got for this episode. We will be back next week with another episode.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.